Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of In the Box Seat, once again joined by Ella.
Hello.
And joining us this morning, Australian Industry Trade College, Lee Smith. Thanks for coming along. You've obviously been a big part of the Gold Coast Turf Club over the last couple of years. Tell us about your role at the AITC and how the program all started.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me, first of all. Really pleased to be here. Lee Smith, Executive General Manager for the Australian Industry Trade College, or AITC, as we call ourselves. So the AITC is an independent senior school. So for students years 10 through 12, that have a focus on industry. So rather than kind of university pathways, they're really focused on kind of technical talents and getting into the workplace and making a difference. So we help them get a head start by getting both their school education, but also getting a head start in industry. And that's what the beautiful kind of setup with the Equine Academy is, that it's young people who basically have their cake and eat it.
Yeah.
They get their school certificate, but they've already started their job, they've started their apprenticeship, and they're on the way. So
that's a great segue into the Equine Academy. So let's
you're
talk about it.
I thought you were talking about cake.
Oh yeah, cake too. We might get some of that. Maybe with some of the chefs at the AITC. The Equine Academy started almost 2 years ago now, I believe. And it's been a great partnership. Tell us a little bit more about it and how it came about.
Sure. It has 2 years, and it has been a really good partnership. So we were approached by none other than Steve Lyons.
Fearless leader.
Yeah, there you go. Who, I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying, he came to one of our events because his daughter came to our school. And he sat and heard what we're about and what we focus on and what our values are. And he thought, there's something in this for our industry here. Maybe there's a solution, you know. And so I met with Steve all that time ago, and he talked to us about the importance of young people having that qualification, having the school certificate, completing school, but also the need to get technically talented young people with the right character and the right values into this industry. So then we started with, what can we do here, right? So we just stepped over the line and said, let's give it a go. We started with a small cohort of, I think it was about 12 in the first instance, on the Robina campus here. And the graduates from those 2 years, the first graduates have just come through.
Yep.
So to put that into context, that is the first year 12s that are finishing school. They've got their school certificate, and all of them have been signed up into apprenticeships or traineeships. So, there's a couple with Adam Campton, racing, etc. So they're all on their way. I mean, the number of careers that, you don't need me to tell you, but the number of careers that surround, an event, for example, is huge, So Steve and Brownie kind of brought us in for one race day and kind of took us around and showed us all of the careers, events management, turf management, hospitality, etc. And we said, we can support the entire industry here. So, really pleased that you've got Dylan here at the Gold Coast Turf Club, who's doing turf management. And like I say, onwards and upwards. We've got, I think for January in total now, we're looking at between 40 and 45 students, which is great. So from 0 to 45.
In just 2 years.
In 2 years. And then by mid-year, we'll be kind of 50, 60 plus. So it just keeps continuing.
And also with that growth, we've grown to more campuses. So obviously, as you said, it started here at Robina, and I believe, is it 5 campuses now?
5 campuses.
5 campuses.
Yeah. So I'll listen for you. So we've got Gold Coast, Sunny Coast, Toowoomba, Ipswich and Brisbane.
How amazing.
So, and it's going to be great because the plan for the future is, whilst they're kind of geographically spread, we'll bring them together as a community. We're planning a 2-week residential where we'll bring all the students together and they get training, but they also get an opportunity to just go and see all the different careers that exist within the industry and hear from industry leaders. So we've got all these big plans of what we can do with it next, which is really cool.
Can you sort of believe how big it's got so quick?
No, not really. In some ways, I suppose the honest answer is yes and no. So initially, it was, could this work? Well, we'll give it a go. And it was a bit different for us. And I remember saying to Steve, Steve, I don't know the first thing about horses.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know the first thing about schools. We'll be absolutely fine, right?
Perfect.
So there was that kind of, let's give this a go. But then the other side of it, I say, there was such passion, initially from Steve, but then from everybody we've met and worked with in this industry. There's such a huge passion for the industry, for the care of the horse, and also to bring young people through. Like, we've been welcomed into every event and everything that we've been to, and we've said to people, hey, you have to help us understand what's happening here, and people have just walked us through it all. So in some ways, it's a surprise in terms of, because it was so innovative, right? But in other ways, when people are passionate about something, then things can happen. Great things can happen. So.
And a great example of that is our first winner of the WOW Award this year, Ella Batten, a student at the AITC. She was part of that first cohort that came through, and we did that at our industry awards, and we celebrated her and we celebrated the program.
Amazing.
So it just shows how something can come from nothing.
And then more awards. So the Gold Coast Turf Club get Employer of the Year at our AITC event. Yeah.
How great. It's so great to be, as Steve always says to us, it's all about partnership. We don't want to just sign up with the AITC and kind of say good luck. He wants to be a part of it, and those two awards just show how much the AITC and the Gold Coast Turf Club have become engrossed in each other.
It's been absolutely amazing. We've kind of started off as kind of partners, and now there's kind of friendships growing. We're starting to
absolutely,
and which is really strong, which means that the ongoing success and the commitment from both sides is really clear. You can see it through and through. So it's just,
you can tell Steve's very proud of the partnership that he's got with the AITC through the Turf Club, and it's
even a little emotional.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
I wish we had some footage of that, but we did hear that Steve was at the graduation of those Year 12, that first intake, and he saw them walk on stage, and he got a little emotional. I don't know whether that was because his daughter was graduating or whether because the program was graduating. Bit of both. But it does just show how exciting this program is and how far it's going to go.
And some of that comes from, that for some of these young people, and for some of the parents, they all of this didn't seem possible when they started off. Because they've been in a traditional school where you kind of sit in class and you do what you're told and you just go through the classroom thing and that's it. Whereas with our program, obviously the young people are at school for 5 weeks, but then they're out in industry for 7 weeks. Right? So their growth in terms of maturity and employability and all of these things is huge. And you get to an event like the graduation or the last raw, as we call it, and the parents think this is the journey they've been on. So same for us. So not only Steve emotional, we're all very emotional as well at these things. It's a big deal.
No, thanks for coming along, Lee. We'll catch up again soon, no doubt, and continue your great work from someone who gets to live a childhood dream. It's good to see this progression for youngsters to come through and go and chase what they want to do more so than be set into a job that they didn't want to do. So it's great to see, and really appreciate your work. So
maybe you've got a race caller mentor
for
the next. You never know. They'll be signing you up next.
I hope they like food. If they do, they're half a chance. Thanks so much, Lee. Thanks for coming along.
Thank you.
We'll be back shortly with more here on In the Box Seat. Welcome back to In the Box Seat. Now a check of some racing news items. Of course, we're back on the turf this week.
The biggest racing news of them all. We're very excited.
It's been, 11 months?
We were just saying off air that we haven't done an In the Box Seat show where we're preparing for grass racing.
Our virgin experience.
Very exciting for us. Very exciting.
And it looks in immaculate condition. Great job by Navesh, Brownie, the team.
Whole team.
Everyone's so excited to get back. We'll run this meeting on Saturday. 7 races, capacity fields. The entries were huge on Monday.
Massive.
And they've stayed through till acceptance time. 125 entries.
That's wild. I forgot that you could have that many acceptances in a race.
Early night for me, Friday night.
Gotta
no
prepare.
hitting that red wine bottle.
Gotta prepare. Actually have to do some work.
Maybe a couple. And 7 races from 12:54. Really competitive racing. Brisbane trainers and the locals are all here out in force. Magic Millions markets were released this week from Tab. Some pretty open markets. Spy Wire one of the key chances, will race in Brisbane on Saturday. Bodyguard was the favourite for the 2-year-old race after a big win in Melbourne. The sort of race, the 2-year-old race will take shape over the weekend with the Callaway Girl, the Feeling Ready, and then Wyong have their 2-year-old Magic Millions on Wednesday, and Ballarat also have their 2-year-old classic. So a bit more of a picture of the 2-year-old race over the next week or so. And shout out to Jag Guthmann-Chester.
Oh, yes. Can't forget that.
He's flying.
Doing absolutely amazing. It's so great to see him getting a treble. You know, he was our apprentice premiership back in, I think, 2019, if I got my dates right. So, it's great to see him riding so many winners.
He will be a force to reckon with in this premiership.
Absolutely.
Now, pressure. Let's find a winner for Saturday.
This was probably one of the hardest ones. So I've gone back to my old trusty faithful and I've chosen by name. I'm going for Aristella. I don't know if you can tell why I'm choosing that one. By Danny Bagor. Love the little Ella at the end there. So thanks for that, choosing that name to those owners. Appreciate it.
Aristella, race 4, number 11 for Ella.
Yes.
Race 6, number 10, Arts Object. This is actually trialled here on the turf. It's had some experience. And my gut feeling says that the riders or the horses that have worked here will have some sort of an advantage. That's my gut feeling.
You've heard it here first.
I'm looking forward to getting back on the turf because I did tip a $1.24 shot on the poly a couple of weeks ago and I got beat.
Right. So onwards and upwards, hey?
Yeah,
on our tipping game. I think both of us need it.
Looking forward to Saturday. Can't wait to be back on the turf. We'll have a big coverage of that throughout our social medias on Saturday.
Absolutely. I'll be doing it.
You are working
I
this
am.
week?
I
Awesome.
am. I'll be here in the mountain yard.
Great to see. And we'll catch you again next week for another big edition of In the Box Seat.